Welcome to the Leader Mentality Show. It is Rob Clemens here again with you. And today I've got a show that I think every single business owner needs to be listening to. I think every single leader needs to be listening to, because we all need to know how to express ourselves ideally for letting people know why they would use our services. If you got into business, why are you in business if nobody knows why they need to use you? And sometimes in our efforts to do this in for our own selves, or when we're hiring people, we start talking about, I want you to be a better salesperson. But many people have this misunderstanding of what sales are. They believe sales are, I'm going to trick somebody into buying my product. I'm going to beat another person and make you buy mine over theirs. But the real deal is, a great salesperson is doing exactly the opposite of that. They don't go into this thing thinking, how am I going to sell you? They go in thinking, how am I going to educate you? They go in thinking, how am I going to solve your problem? They go in thinking, how do I relate with you the best I can so that you feel like I might be able to solve your issue? So we have a guy on here today, and it's what he does for a living. He helps people to get their organizations, their teams built properly so that they can do exactly that. Express why they would use you instead of the next person. And so I'm excited to introduce you guys to this person. His name is Lonnie Daniels. He's a trainer, and we're going to talk all about how to be a salesperson without being a salesperson. Welcome to the show, Lonnie.
Pleasure.
Man, I first met Lonnie a while back because he was doing some real estate training. Yeah. One of my agents that works for one of the companies I own, he actually came through Lonnie, and he was singing your praises, man. He goes, this guy, Lonnie, he had us going. He was teaching us.
And I didn't have to pay him this time.
Yeah. You didn't have to pay him not a penny for him.
Didn't have to pay him this time.
But, and this is actually one of the best salespeople I have, no doubt. I mean, he hit the ground running in a very tough industry. And Frank Dominic, some of you guys know him. He helps with the show. But anyway, Lonnie, what all you been up to lately, man? I know you're a busy guy.
Yeah, helping people.
Helping people.
Yeah, make those intelligent and informed decisions between North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. Just help them understand people buy people before they buy product.
Okay.
So getting that buy-in. Because it's easier for people to buy in when they've had the opportunity to weigh in. So it's encouraging leaders how to just talk to our people, not talk at them. There's a difference.
Yep. Fair.
So it's maybe just to help that individual mindset over skill set.
Okay, and I like that. We're going to talk a little bit about mindset over skill set. You, I think even before you came onto the show today, you said you're speaking to a group or something.
Yes, training some individuals, some Charlestonians.
Okay.
Charleston and Beaufort. Again, just helping them. It was some land.
Yeah.
Just encouraging them. You never wait to buy land. You buy land and wait.
Okay.
That's another conversation for another time.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
it's again just helping them understand the importance of having a vision. Because whenever you have more than one vision, you have a division. So it's just important, it's paramount, just keeping yourself surrounded with people whose energy is positive and infectious. To your point.
Yeah. No, for sure.
People,
it's super important that you when you get into a group environment that you have to, kind of let them know what the vision is, First of all, they have to know what the vision is, and this goes all the way from recruiting. I used to tell people when you're hiring new people, you seek these people out, you try to find ones who you believe can see your vision, and those are the people that you want to invest the time in to train. And so that's why I'm really fascinated. I wanted to bring you on today to talk a little bit about that, because you meet so many people on a day-to-day, Lonnie. You meet so many people that you're talking to that think they're going to make the next $1 million by doing X, Y, Z. And so I want to talk a little bit about how you find those people. So you do training all over the place. You talked about Beaufort, Charleston. Do you travel to these remote locations, or you just have them all come and meet you here in Myrtle Beach?
I travel.
Okay.
Whenever they send me contact information or reach out to me between Charleston, Beaufort, every now and then Denver, Colorado.
Wow.
I go
okay.
to Becker Ridge. Fort Carson, Colorado, prior military.
How does that happen? Like, how did you, like, you're primarily based in South Carolina, and then all of a sudden somebody says, can you come to Colorado? How did that happen?
Relationships.
Okay.
Relationships. I often hear people say, it's not what you know, but who you know.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily completely true. It's not necessarily what you know, necessarily, not even who you know, but who knows you. So we have to do our part, not to be a secret agent, but to get out there, allow people to get to know you.
Yeah.
So just having those relationships, because life happens at the speed of relationships.
Yeah, for sure.
You're only one relationship away.
Yeah.
Your whole landscape changes.
I mean, when you say that, Lonnie, I mean, look, let's break it down. And I'm going to get back into what all you've been doing, because I want to hear about Colorado. I want to hear about how you're getting to travel, man. I want the people to know what this guy's up to. But listen, you said something important. You know, you said a lot of important things. I'm trying to pull one out that I thought was really cool. Is I find a lot of people, and look, if you're a person out there and you want to be great at sales eventually, you want to be a great manager, you want to be a great leader, never think you're too good for the job you're doing. And the reason I say that is that people have heard me, if you listen to the show enough, if you ever worked at a company that I'm a manager or a leader at, I tell you, what you're doing today is your audition for tomorrow, always. So if you go in and you work in a fast food place and you think you're too good for that, which, look, I know some smart people working in fast food. I've got much respect for people there. But if you think you're too good for that job, you show that on a day-to-day, and that might be the thing that holds you back from getting to your next level. I would tell you, if you're in a job you think you're too good for, prove it. Prove it by what you do on a day-to-day. Don't do less, do more. Show that you're better. So when you said that thing, you said sometimes people are in these situations where, you know, they gotta show what they can do, because that next opportunity is that next person that meets you. And so, you know, it could be the CEO of wherever that drives through, and you're really nice to them at the drive-through, and they go, wait a minute. So that's pretty cool. I like that. So you go to places like Colorado, and you talked about it was the relationship. Somebody heard you. I think that's a lot of what makes real estate agents good. On your day-to-day, Lonnie, what do you call home? I mean, where's home for you?
Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay, all right, got you.
Home. That's a bold.
That's
Columbia.
That's where the home base of just where you lay your head down most often. How many days a week are you traveling?
Oh, man. Probably easier question.
When are you home?
Traveling. Probably say between about 3 out of 5 days, right? Because I have a wife and children.
All right, nice.
Success at the extent of your family is not true success.
Right.
So that's my Lifetime Achievement Award. My family, right? So, but about 3 to 5. Got to balance.
Okay.
Got to balance.
It's still tough though, man. When you're traveling out of town, do you stay overnight, or do you drive all the way back to Columbia?
I check on my wife. And if she needs me, I have to monitor and adjust. Obviously, right? But she says, hey, everything's going great here, then I keep being great elsewhere.
Right.
So,
Man, this dude right here is consistent. You guys are going to hear it when we talk today. He's consistent because he said monitor and adjust. And you're talking about doing that with your wife. But monitor and adjust when you're dealing with potential clients of your company. You got to monitor and adjust. You know, we meet somebody who's a real hard driver. You can't sit here and lay back. And again, I don't want to spoil all your good stuff. But, well, Lonnie, so how long have you been training for?
In some capacity, I'm going to say 2006, 2007.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and that's why I had to learn. Success is not a straight line.
Okay. It's not a straight line.
Success is not a straight line. Yeah. Matter of fact, even when I look at the heartbeat, the mere fact is up and down, right? Because if you flatline, there's no more ups and downs in life.
Oh man.
Without going too deep. Go ahead.
I know. I agree completely. Look, and what Lonnie and I were talking earlier. He kind of goes, "Well, what's your logo all about?" And I always told people, I think that every person in this life has something driving them. The biggest successes that we all want to be have a heartbeat. There's something driving them, and sometimes it's driving them in a way that you don't even know. Sometimes you don't have the passion that they have to do that thing they're doing, so you won't get there because you don't have that passion. And I'll explain, I was talking to people about The Rock, like everybody know The Rock, and pretty much whether you like him or not, everybody knows who The Rock is. Dwayne Johnson, he was a wrestler, he's been an actor. Yeah. I said, you know that guy? He's legendary for waking up at 3:30 in the morning, doing these 3-hour workouts, working all day, and then goes to bed at 10:30, 11 at night and starts all over the next day. Yeah. Do you want to do that? Yeah. Well, that's his heartbeat. Yeah. And what I would do if I were ever talking to Dwayne Johnson, I'd say, why do you do what you do? And that's the mic. That's what I'm giving him, the mic. Yeah. And so to that point, you say, it's not linear. There's downs, there's ups, there's a time that you failed and it felt
Absolutely.
like, and how did you rebound? That's the up.
That's it.
And so that's what we like to talk about.
But even think about, what if a song only had high notes?
I love that, man.
That's
For
what
sure.
makes the song so melodic to some degree, right?
Yeah.
It's not because of all the
It's the changes in it, man. Spice of life, dude. Dude, I like that right there. You know what I thought was interesting? I heard, I want to give credit to the right person. I want to say it might have been Gary Vee, or it might have been one of those guys. But what they said was, he said, do you like playing Monopoly? Do you like playing Scrabble? Do you like playing whatever? People are like, yeah, I like playing that. He goes, how would it feel if you always won? If you always won, would you want to keep playing it? And then the answer is no, I won't want to play if I always won. Because what would be? And he said, well, see, that's the way life works. You don't want to win all the time. Sometimes when you lose, you learn, you get better, you get stronger, and it gives you a challenge. Human beings, man, we love challenge whether we know it or not. Yeah. And the only thing I think, Lonnie, and we're going to talk a little bit about human beings, and we're going to talk about personalities today, but I find it fascinating. Somebody will play a video game and lose. It will look like the most unmotivated person in the world. They play video games 8 hours, 10 hours a day, but what are they doing? I'm accomplishing things. I'm getting killed, and I'm starting back over because I want to go beat that boss. Well, you got it in you. Yeah. You got it in you right now to be a success, but you're just applying it in an interesting way. Yeah. So anyway, all right, I'm off on a tangent, dude.
No, but that speaks volumes. Yeah. It's already within you.
Yeah.
Win from within.
Right.
Like everything we need to succeed in life, it's already in us.
There you go.
Yeah.
So how do you unleash that, though?
Oh, man.
See, now we're getting into deep stuff. How do you unleash that?
Yeah. I don't necessarily think we have to unleash it, but in the right environment, it actually releases itself to some degree.
Okay, I feel what you're saying, and I agree with you completely.
Yeah.
Now let me make an analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, I go out into the desert. I got a bunch of sand around me. I drop a little sunflower seed, drop it in there, put some water on it. Well, the potential was all there, but it wasn't in the right environment.
Right environment.
All right, and I'm sure, and I'm just coming up with this on the curb, on the fly. I'm sure somebody's probably made a more eloquent version of this before. Now I go drop it in the right soil with the right sunlight and all this, and now it flourishes, right? So what was the difference? The environment. And so to some extent, it's not like, well, today I got to just do better. So great leaders find the right environment for the right people.
Yeah.
So, but my question to you is, though, how do you find that person, though? Because you train people every day, man. You must sit down and look at a room of people and go, I think this person get it. This person might not be in the right environment. How do you know, man?
Yeah. Well, it goes back to something you and I talk about. Your vibe attracts your tribe. And I'm very big just when I connect with the person, but I look for someone that values, that's more relational than transactional. I think a lot of times individuals, we're so transactional, and we have to get more energy to be more relational. So for me, it's just the individuals, because we all have something of value. Now we have to know our value proposition, because we all have value. Yeah. And you've heard this, I probably, somebody else said it obviously. You can have a $100 bill, $50 bill. You can step on it, ball it up. Would somebody still want it? Absolutely. Because no matter what it went through, ball, stepped on, it never lost its value. So we have to know our value proposition. Because people see you the way you see yourself. So that's why there's self-inventory, there's self-analysis, self-mastery. Because when you know your value, to some degree, you won't even have to pursue opportunities. You begin to attract them. It's a magnetism.
Do you read, all right, so I'm with you. I agree completely. Do you read any Jordan Peterson? Are you? Okay, so, some people are a fan, some people aren't a fan. It doesn't really matter. One of the things I tell people when they listen to this show, don't get hung up on who I'm talking about. If I mention somebody you don't like, but understand the good things that they do say, And Jordan Peterson tells a story about these lobsters. He talks about a top lobster and a bottom lobster. I'm not going to go into all that. I said Jordan Peterson tells the story better. Go look it up online. But he talks about the fact that the way that the top lobster carries himself. And the top lobster is the one who all of the opposite sex wants to mate with and all this. And that's not where I'm going with this. What I'm saying is, even when they become the top lobster in their path to it, they carry themselves more upright. Yep. There's a better confidence. So what you just said a minute ago is people they feed off of body language. They feed off of everything. And we all know that communication is it's like 18 or whatever the studies say, 15, 18% of your communication is verbal. But it's the way I'm posturing. It's the way my tonality is. And so you talk a lot about just being more about the relationship, less about the transaction. Connect the dot for me for the people. You want to be a great salesperson without being a salesperson. What does it look like when you tell me somebody needs to be more relational than transactional? Give me a good point of that.
You want to come from contribution. At least my approach, my trajectory, my paradigm, I want to help individuals. I want to help them be better than they were prior to us meeting on whatever level. So for me, it's about helping the individual, regardless of politics or ethnic persuasion. I want people to win in life. So for me, it's just being concerned about the individual. I want to help them just make intelligent and informed decisions. And as you just want to help people, the transaction takes care of itself, because that's a sincerity, that's an authenticity there.
Yeah, I like that. So, so we're doing some pro tips, leader tips. I always like to talk like this. I feel like when I'm connecting the dots of what you just said, I sit down, I'm looking to hire a salesperson. And look, I think a lot of managers can say that. They can say, look, you're probably the best salesperson at your company because you fully understood your vision. Now it's time to hire a salesperson. And you got all these people coming in. Maybe we look for traits in people that are the wrong traits. Sometimes we're looking for people who are the slick talker, the fast talker, the quick thinker. Those can be good, don't get me wrong. But if you're missing the servant heart, you may be missing the biggest thing. And I think especially in modern times, Lonnie, because like in modern day, I feel like in the old days, you'd see all these things where they'd say, I'm going to sit you down in a room for 3 hours. I'm just going to beat it into your head until you finally say yes. You're going to say no, 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 and then finally yeah. But I feel like modern times, people don't want that. They don't want to be sold to. They want you to relate with them. So you said something that I think is really powerful. Why am I doing this? Because I want to help you.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. And but you mentioned we got to get back to the servant.
Yeah.
We are in a service industry. We're in a service industry.
There you go. I like that. We're not in the sales industry. We're in the service industry. Yeah.
They don't have to use us.
Yeah.
So to that point, going back to that service, and we can elaborate, I'm sure, a little bit later. It's a service.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's important to elaborate on it right now because when you say to me, okay, it's a service industry. Let's say you go to a doctor and a doctor's like, I'm using a horrible example here, but you get into the doctor and say, hey, doc, I don't feel good. And he's like, well, let me tell you why you should use my services. You should use my services because I'm the best doctor. And, it's like, what good is he doing right there? And that's something I want salespeople to understand. Don't talk about you and all the things you do.
Telling is not selling.
Correct.
Telling is, we got to get back to that.
Yeah.
Telling is not selling.
So if you go to a doctor, here's what happens. You say, well, what's wrong? Tell me how you're feeling. And that's what a good diagnosis goes through. We need to be more like doctors. We need to be, and I don't mean, like, I don't, people don't take that wrong. What I'm saying though is, I've got to understand what your issue is first and foremost. All my expertise don't matter until I understand what your issue is, and then I can start getting there. So when you talk about the service side, we talk about a room full of people that come in, and I really want to talk about this with you because you talk to people every day who are about to enter the sales industry, specifically real estate. You're looking at a room full of people, Lonnie, and you can teach them some tricks, and you can teach them some ideas and some mindset. But at the end of the day, you get a vibe, don't you? Don't you look at a room and get a vibe and go, well, I think this person's on the right track. What does the right track look like to you?
On the right track.
When you're just meeting somebody, you see them come in and they go, hi, Lonnie, this is my first day. I'm glad to be here. What do you think's a good trait? What tells you think they're on the right track?
The intangibles. Well, the first thing I look for, are you going to talk to me or talk at me? Because it's not the same. And so often we think we're talking to people and we're talking at them.
Yeah. Man, that's good for relationships, by the way. You might be doing pro tips on marriage. Oh, man.
So that's one thing, right? Talking to them, not just talking at them. And being learned, coachable, being trainable. Yeah, because there's always something you don't know.
Yeah.
So I was just taught, man, when you get around anyone, pack up your knowledge to some degree. When I say act dumb, it's just some people, they will lose the incentive to want to train and teach and coach you if they think you know everything. So I just like those that listen. And we know this, we talked about this, or has been talked about. That's why silent and listen, it has the same letters. Listen, same letters.
That's funny.
It goes back to it. Telling is not selling. So we have to get back to listening our way inside of a person's world.
Okay, I dig it. But so before I get too deep into it, because we've set some talk about listening more than you're talking, not talking at people, but talking with people maybe, which is a difference because talking with people is understanding and having compassion. And I'm getting a common theme from you today, and that's what I really want to get to. It's like you speak a lot about the best salespeople seem to have a true interest in helping people and that they are truly listening. Look, if I don't have any interest in really helping people, then it really doesn't matter what you have to say, so I don't need to ask you. But if I care, I'm going to ask questions, I'm going to understand where you're coming from, I'm going to set the stage. We could talk about DISC assessments and everything, but before we get into that, I mean, how'd you become a trainer, man? How'd you get into this field?
Well, my passion, when I left the military, finished college, graduating this year, and just going through my dissertation, I would always hear people say, knowledge is power, knowledge is power, knowledge is not power, applied knowledge is power. Now, you can have all the knowledge, but if you don't apply what you know. So for me, that was the desire, the drive, the determination. It's just to help people know, because people would do better if they knew better. Well, that's not true. Some people know better. Still
they still not, right.
But all things being considered equal, I want to be able just to add value to people on whatever level.
Did you learn from your military time? Did you learn anything that has been helpful in you in becoming a better salesperson yourself?
The military, many things the military gave me. One of perspective. Perspective. See, our perspective can be your assistant or your assassin. The way you see things.
That's fair.
Right? So for me, the military, a lot of things, but perspective. Just be optimistic. Because no matter what you go through in life, somebody else has it worse. So when I went to Southwest Asia, different parts of the world, and you see people that have less. But just as grateful, man. So for me, it allows me just to be grateful, right? That perspective. Many things.
I love that.
Perspective.
Military has so many great parts. I mean, I was an Air Force kid growing up. My father was in the military, went to Desert Storm. I remember what it was like being in that. And it's true. Resilience, you learn. Toughening up. Perspective is a beautiful one. And I think perspective is really important. One thing I thought, Lonnie, when you said that, and a lot of the things you say is, have you ever had that person you knew, and if you're listening to the show today, absorb what I'm saying. I'm going to slow this down so you can absorb what I'm saying. Have you ever had that one eccentric family member, that eccentric friend, or maybe that hard to work with person in your life, and you go, oh boy, when they go in and they sit down at that restaurant doesn't know what's coming at them, And the reason I say that is I've been there, I'm not even going to name names, but it's that person you're like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen when that person goes in and they meet that person. There is a perspective that's so important. See, if you are really good at understanding that every person you meet can be a little bit different with a little bit different value system, a little bit different things they've been through in life, maybe things they're going through right now, your perspective helps because now you go, this person could be anything. Now I got to diagnose. I got to go back to my doctor role. We could probably do a whole thing doing doctor analogies, but I go back to a doctor and I say, well, tell me, one of my sales tricks has always been, and I use the word trick, and by the way, don't trick people into sales. This is relational, not transactional. But one of my things was always, I would like to ask them questions like, why are you doing this? I just start with why. They came in to buy a camera. I'm like, why are you buying a camera? Why aren't you using your smartphone? And they'll tell you great information right there. You learn how they think. You learn what their interests are. You learn why they're doing it. And now I can start kind of building off of that. So, but you can't do it if you're not listening and asking questions and caring, right?
Yeah. And you said that big why.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not necessarily why we're doing it, who we're doing it for.
Right.
Sometimes people say, I don't know my why. Your why could be a who. Yeah, who your person,
I like that a lot. Tell me this, what do you think for you personally? Now, you and I talked, I'm going to spoil alert this, for you disc fans, people know a lot of times I'll ask you, what's your disc? And Lonnie's a D. Oh, well, at least that's a core trait that kind of came from, and I think the core trait always kind of stays there. It just modifies over time.
Because we're always evolving.
We're always evolving, and yet you're not changing who you are as a human being, but you're evolving. And like you said, you're that energy. You got that bundle of energy, and you're seeing where it grows at. But your perspective changes, and maybe you change, and the people's perspectives around you change. But who do you find that is easiest for you to sell in personalities, and who do you find is most challenging for you to sell in personalities? And here's what I mean. I always felt like I could sell D's easier than I could sell certain people because I felt like a D-type personality. I want the information now. Give it to me. I always felt like I understood that. So it was easier for me to, perspective-wise, say, I know how you feel. Let me kind of break that down. And then I'm able to get in their wheelhouse. And then on the other hand, I had hard times selling certain personality types. What do you think you sell easier?
Naturally, because safe, the same as safe. So me being a D, right? That connectivity there with the D, so we wired the same to some degree. The challenge, or I shouldn't say the challenge, the opportunity for growth is certain individuals that sometimes get lost in the details to some degree. What we call that paralysis of analysis.
Right.
Sometimes they overthink, and some of us got a proclivity just to overthink, overanalyze, but so many times they get so many details, the paralysis of analysis. They paralyze because they've analyzed. Then they got fear, and money is always on the other side of fear. Sure.
It's funny he says that because they are the, when you're a driver and you're like, let's get to the point, and you got a compliance or a controller type who is very much like, let me make the right decision. Sometimes there's that little thing that happens. So you said something off the air that I want to talk about right now. You said you got to mirror and match. Tell me what that means and why is it important when you're doing the sales process? Mirror and match.
But before we go to that, I want to go back to something you mentioned. Even though some of us are D's, and that person may be more systematic and in the detail, we need one another.
Oh, for sure.
So by no
complementary.
means, because sometimes as a D, we're working in the business, and we need help working on the business. So that's why that C helps to work on it. Because some of us D's, we're so busy working in it. We need someone to help us with our system. We know system stands for save yourself time, energy, and money. System, right? Save yourself time, energy, money. So it's good to have people to help you work on the business. Because some of us, we're so busy working in the business.
Well, And I feel what you're laying down there. You know, it's most certainly important that we have all those personality types in our business. We really have to have them all. Yeah. But this is the thing, right? I want to become a great salesperson without being a salesperson. So you told me earlier, you got to listen. Yeah. You have to talk with, not at. Yeah. And what I'm feeling from you is you're saying you got to be able to get into that wheelhouse. So we know we need them, but it's sometimes harder. I mean, look, one thing I'm a big fan of, I never like to tell fairy tales. You know, if you want to be a great salesperson, you're going to do this. Sometimes it's hard. We've all sat down in the car after doing a sales appointment. And look, I've done sales my whole career. Yeah. I was doing sales right after I got out of college, even when I wasn't in a sales role. I believe everybody in a company needs to be a salesperson. And I would have people come over and ask me, I was doing payroll when I first got out of college. I'd have some of the sales guys come over and be like, Rob, could you just get on the phone with this client? Yeah. I'd be like, why? They want to know how to set up their account. They're like, no. But when you talk to them, I just have a feeling. Yeah. I just have a feeling you're going to close that. Yeah. And I was doing what you're talking about. I was getting to know the people. Yeah. But sometimes it's hard because I've been on that guy who I got back in my truck after I got done talking to people. I'm going, what just happened? Where did I go wrong? And it usually comes down to somewhere I missed the mark. So I love that we're talking like this. I love that we're talking about things.
But I think it's hard to the degree you don't have a connection.
Yeah.
So remember we were talking about before, you got to capture. Once you've met them, the very next step, you got to connect because people love doing business or having a relationship you have a connection with. So I think to some degree it's hard to the degree you don't have a connection because we're so big to get to the transaction. But when you have that relationship, that connection, it's not as hard as I think we make it.
Yeah, okay. I got you.
There are certain individuals I had to meet and talk to them outside of work.
Yeah.
It's something about meeting certain individuals, like outside of work, outside the transact, team building, things of that nature, to get the connection. Right. And once you got a certain connection, you realize,
Okay, I'm with you.
It's perspective. Like, they're not really that way.
So, no, for sure. And here's the challenge. I guess this is part of why, I don't want to get off the subject, right?
Because you can't teach personality.
Well, you can't teach personality, but also, my vision is sometimes you get an hour to get somebody to get convinced. Yeah. Sometimes you have all day. Sometimes you have all week. Sometimes you have 20 minutes.
But you just said it.
Yeah.
See, people convinced. Let's stay right there. We're trying to convince them.
Yeah.
That could be a conundrum. Because people convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. And I think so. We're trying to convince. No. Self-discovery is a powerful tool. So certain individuals, I'm not trying to convince. That's one thing I don't do. I'm not trying to convince because I know a person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still.
So fair enough. Yeah. So you don't want to convince the people to do something. You want them to discover themselves that they need to do that thing.
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Because sustainable change comes from within.
When I start feeling like I'm hot stuff, that I stop doing the little things that matter. When I go into that sales appointment, to go back to that point, I go into a sales appointment and I didn't listen. I thought, man, I'm selling everybody I'm meeting today. I'm doing everything right. Everybody's buying from me. And then you get back in that truck and go, what happened? And you said, well, you didn't make a connection. You doggone right I didn't. You doggone right I did. Because and what I think part of the great process, like if you want to be great at this, if you want to be a great basketball player and you miss the game-winning shot, you go and you take a whole bunch more shots. You practice a lot harder. Yeah. See, I'm like that with sales. I'll get into a sales situation where I get in that truck and I'm going, where did I go wrong?
Yeah.
Where did I go wrong? And the first thing is, you talked about mirror and matching, and I want to get back to mirror and matching. It was when you had that conversation, you start talking at them, and they started doing this.
Yeah, you gotta watch.
And you didn't really notice it, and you just kept going because you thought you were the greatest salesman in sliced bread. You know what I mean?
But that speaks volumes to you. See, that's having self-inventory, self-analysis.
Yeah.
That's why I punctuate each activity. I go back through in my mind. Well, I could have done this better. Well, no, I could have did this. Maybe I should have slowed down because I can only change myself, right?
Right.
So that's so good. You do it. It's called. But then again, you can never overcome a true objection anyway. And I tell people, if some people just have a true objection, I don't care how, no matter what you no matter what you say, again, example, if they want to be on the first floor.
Yeah. And you don't have the first floor.
If that's a true objection.
Yep.
Nothing you're going to tell them.
Yep.
Sorry.
No. Listen, man, I'm with you. You're talking about two different things, but I agree with you completely. If I don't have the product at all, you didn't use me because I didn't have the product, and that's okay. Yeah. It's not my job to convince you to use something else. Now, I do need to listen and understand why that's an objection. Why don't you want to be on the first floor? Well, because I'm in a wheelchair. And I go, oh, well, we have an elevator over here. Would that solve that? Would that be something? Yeah. Now, that's fair. Yeah. Sometimes I just don't. If I got a bunch of steps, and that's fair. But I'm talking about when I had the product and I didn't make the connection, and that happens, dude. It happens to the best of us. And I agree with you, man. It's like almost like sometimes, and I want people to know, look, I want it to be a beacon of light. You might not be a great salesperson right now because you're too busy being a salesperson. You're not being a communicator. And some of the things you said today, I'm gonna go back over them real quick because I love it, man. First of all, we talk about you have to be relational, not transactional. What we mean there is it's not about me. It's not about my product. It's about you and what you need. Now, hopefully I have it, right? So I love what you're saying, you know. Now, then you talked about a little bit about a value proposition. All right. Now, if I could do this for you, you have this problem. If I could do this for you, would that be something you'd be interested in? Now, not said so dramatically, but that's the idea, right? That's what you meant by value proposition. And I love that, man. Pro tip, big time. We talked about understanding the perspective. All right, so what's the perspective of the person? Now, here's the tricky part. And this is what I want to dive into. I got a question for you on that. We want to understand the perspective of the person, right? So your own perspective can help you a lot. Like if I understand some people are in a big hurry, some people don't, you know, they're not studiers. Some people are really hard studiers. If I want to understand somebody's perspective, what do you think is a trick that would help you to get to that point? What is something you could do to understand somebody's perspective? Obviously, you got to ask a question, but how do you know when you're getting their perspective right?
Yeah, and I don't think necessarily you could ever really have their perspective because we're not them.
Right.
People are a total sum of all their experiences.
Sure.
So it's unrealistic to some degree to have their complete perspective. But I just think being able to just empathize and letting them communicate, letting them talk, letting them be a sounding board to people.
Yep.
Just being
empathize. So you combine an empathy with perspective. I like that. I like that because what you're telling me, what I'm gathering from that is when I go into this, and you're hitting on a lot of topics I've said in my sales training over the years. I believe that when you go in and you talk to people with a selfish perspective, I can make this much commission when I make the sell. I can, be top in my place when I make the sell. I can do whatever. When it's I believe you're doomed to fail. So your empathy is the key. That's very cool, man. And so when we're looking for salespeople, Lonnie, I think I'm going to keep putting you on the spot on this one. When these people walk in this room, you have trained so many people over the years, and you're looking and you said, I think this one's getting it. I think, and we're not saying they'll never get it. I'm saying right off the bat, you're like, I think this one gets it. And you're talking about the way they communicate, the way they talk. And then you talked about mirror and matching. So tell me give me an idea of what you mean by that.
Well, when it comes to mirror and matching, just like you just did your hands this way. When you said mirror and matching. And if I had something to drink, I've been drinking as well. But mirror match at the fundamental, we're sitting here, and if I would like for you to say something or agree with me, I would start doing my
correct
my nods, just like you just did. Your nods.
For sure.
I didn't want you to agree with me because it wouldn't be a good idea, right? This is mirror and matching. But down to the tonality, if they're speaking a little bit quicker, well, you may need to adjust to speak a little bit quicker. But if you're talking if they're speaking too slow and you're speaking too quick, it sometimes can interfere with the connection to some degree. So even just now, when you cross your arms, and I would just cross my arms the same way. If they lean forward, I'm going to lean forward. They lean back, I lean back. You'll be surprised. Just the mirror and matching, it makes a difference.
But bro, you got to be careful when you talk like this, because see, this is the problem though. You start talking to these new salespeople, and they're like, Lonnie said when they And then they're like trying
right
to,
now.
yeah, right. And so what happens though
Yeah.
is you can get too stuck in that too, though.
Yeah.
You can start getting like somebody's like, oh man, there's a fly over here, and you start fly. I'm being a little facetious, but I think part of some of this is we're doing a tricky show today, because part of what we're saying is don't be like trying to turn it into a game of I'm going to win and you're going to lose, but what I connect the dot on is when you say you're mirroring, I believe what you're empathizing. Right. I think what we're saying is like we want to make people comfortable. At the end of the day, you want to make them comfortable, and you want to get your point through, but you got to listen to do it. It's really cool, man. The mirror matching I think is important because to go back to that thing about perspective, you know that person, and you're like, boy, they don't know what's about to hit them. Yeah. But if that person could see that person's a certain way, maybe you adapt really quick.
Absolutely. And a perspective, and you've heard it. They say when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change.
Right. That's cool.
You could be behind someone driving in traffic, and let's say they're driving slowly, as an example. And when they're driving slowly, now you're getting irritated. But what if you just think maybe they're driving slowly? They just left the hospital. Spouse could have died. Mm-hmm. They're driving slowly to get home to let the children know that their mom and dad no longer here. Now, did I change anything about them driving slowly?
No.
But I'm just saying, when you put yourself in that mindset, that man, maybe they're driving slowly because they just left the hospital.
Yeah.
They're trying to think about how to get home and tell the children.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, when you just have a different perspective on it, I mean, I didn't change it. They still driving slowly.
You know what? That's a tip for life. I'm talking about sales skills, but you're right. It's a tip for life. Yeah. People situationally, so you have your core person, and then you have the situational adjustments to it. If there was a calculation, it would be like 1 × 1 = 1, but times this when this is happening, stresses, whatever it happens to be, very powerful stuff. Yeah. And sometimes I think if you have empathized and if you've listened and you not just talked at, and as I connect all these dots, what I feel like you've said today, and we say how to be a better salesperson without being a salesperson. Yeah. It was very much that. I feel like you're telling me when people come into the room, you can see it in the way that they're going about business. Yeah. And I like that. My takeaway, Lonnie, and you're the expert when it comes to, the training of the process. My takeaway is I feel like that the best salespeople are always analyzing what they're doing. And I feel like what I mean by that is if I want to be a great golfer, which I'm terrible at golf, so that's not something that's happening. Anybody who knows me, they'd be like, well, but if I wanted to be great at it, I'd watch video of myself doing it, and I'd look at the clubs I'm using, and I'd follow the best people and see how they're preparing. Well, if I want to be a great salesperson, I'm going to do the same thing. Yep. And don't underestimate it. People have got to pick you for a reason. Yeah. And you've got to have a reason they picked you. Yeah. So find out what that is. Yeah. I like to tell the story about there's a movie called Hitch. I don't know if anybody ever saw it. You ever see Hitch with Will? Yeah. And he just says, hey, look, if you're charming, be charming. If you're shy, be shy. Don't try to be somebody you're not. You said that earlier.
Yeah. I can't recollect the company right now. But part of their philosophy is they say they don't teach people how to be nice. They hire nice people.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I feel you.
Yep. And then to your point, that's self-inventory, self-analysis, right? What could I have done differently? So we have to punctuate each activity with that self-reflection.
Yeah. I feel
self-reflection. Yeah.
I think reflectiveness is very important. Oh, yeah. And leadership in general is important. That's part of the reason I have receptiveness on my board. It's like you got to be receptive, you got to receive it, and you got to accept it sometimes. You got to understand it.
Because they say feedback, what they say is the gift of champions.
Yeah.
That feedback.
It's not hard, especially if you're thin-skinned. Oh man,
Because people are going to tell you no, right?
Yeah.
No stands for next opportunity. So we should be able just to coach and build people. You're going to hear no. No is for next opportunity.
Yeah.
Detach yourself because you start to feel sad. See, it's about you now. Mm-hmm. Oh, they reject me. They're making it about you.
You know what I think's interesting about sales? I think it's such a, I think it's such a emotional thing that happens to human beings inside of you. So what you just said is important.
Yeah.
We've all known people who, especially in this industry, you're going really high. When you're riding high, you just feel like, man, I'm going to sell every single person that I walk in that door. I can sell everybody.
Yep.
When you're riding high and there's an emotion and a confidence in you and a body language in you, and you're probably, without even knowing it, you're at your peak of listening and talking with, not to. And then all of a sudden, like, you get a rejection and maybe another rejection, rejection. All of a sudden, like, I can't sell anything.
Yeah.
I always tell the story. There's a baseball player named Chipper Jones. For the baseball fans, you probably know the name. And he was in a slump. And Chipper, one of the great hitters of all time, and he was world class. But he had this slump near the end of his career. I think he was like 0 for 26 or something. And they said he went back to the dugout, and one of the guys said, well, Chipper, you're going to get another hit one day. And he goes, I don't know, man. And it's just funny because here's one of the greatest players of all time. Like, you say something obvious, you're going to hit the ball again one day. He's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's the emotion that happens within us. And when we're on that low, people are getting the worst of us.
Yeah.
The slump.
But you said the key, they rejected me. See right there, they're not rejecting you.
Yeah.
They're rejecting the service. We have to get better.
Right.
And not, if somebody does not want my help, it's not me. They just don't want, like, my help.
See, now here's
Does that
where.
make sense?
Now, yes, but here's.
compartment.
But my man, here's where I'm going to take you to task. Now, you see, this show won't be fun if I just agree with everything you said.
I got you.
I agree with what you said.
Yeah.
What you said is true with an asterisk.
Yeah.
The truth is that if you did it proper, if you expressed your product properly, if you listened to them and you understood their need and you express your product, at the end of the day, it still might not have worked out. They might not have had the money to do it. They might not have had. That's okay. But I'm saying sometimes you do mess up the sell. And it's because when you're riding low, you're missing all those great things you talked about, mirror and matching. That's out the window. You talk about empathizing. Nah, man, I can't sell anything right now. You're so about yourself. So I agree with you. And here's the thing. What he's talking about is don't get in the slump. Don't get in the slump in the first place. What I'm saying is when you're in the slump, you got to come back out and realize every opportunity is a new opportunity to reset. So what happens is sometimes it's a combination of what you and I are saying. I think sometimes we truly are blowing it because we are not doing the things that we need to be doing. We're becoming salespeople. We're becoming emotional beings. What you're saying is like, look, I'm not going to win them all. That's the beautiful thing. And I gave the example earlier. I said, I sit down in that truck and I'm going, man, what did I do wrong? Maybe I actually didn't do anything wrong. But bro, I'm going to replay it and make sure I did.
But it goes back to it. I mean, a broken crayon still colors. We got to give ourselves some grace.
I like that.
Because it's true. I mean, hey, we talked about this. What if a song only had high notes?
No, you're right. You're right.
I don't know where in life we think there could be birth without a contraction. There can't be birth without labor pains. You got to have them. Right?
Yes, 100%. 100%. And this is the thing that I think about.
But why do we think success is a straight line?
Well, exactly. There's going to be those setbacks. And I feel like that what we have to do, and realistically is it comes down to, and I'm like not switching gears, but I'm just hitting one particular thing we said. Do you have a passion for this or not? Okay? Because if you have a passion, if you listen to this show today and you have a passion, you want to be a great salesperson, you want to hire a great salesperson, for all these things we've thrown out today, it's been a lot about just understanding who you're trying to help, okay? If you understand who you're trying to help, you'll be good. But no matter what we said today, if you have a passion for it, you'll keep going. You'll find that thing that makes you. But my cautionary tale is, and we're talking to a guy who meets people who are going to get into the industries that they're going into, a lot of times real estate, and sometimes they're not going to make it. And the reason they didn't make it is potentially because they were too focused on themselves, potentially because they were not willing to put in the work, potentially because they didn't have the passion. Because I believe if you have the passion, you will keep working to get better and better. But sometimes you just don't have the passion for it.
And to some of them, they're curious, they're just not serious.
Curious, not serious.
Oh, boy. And you have to, sorry.
And you know it when you see it. That's kind of what it look. Lonnie's a real good guy. One thing you're going to know after the show today, he's a good dude, and I mean that. Like,
but a dead battery can't jump a dead battery.
Right. Well,
so, your vibe attracts your tribe.
And I all those things he said.
Is together.
But he's the real deal, man. He cares about people, and I know that, and that's why he's not going to say that thing I'm going to say. I've had a room full of people come in, and I went, you're going to be it's going to struggle for you. You're going to probably be okay out the chute because you're already there. And I know you don't want to say that because he's got that hope that all of them are going to get there.
Yeah.
But me, it's like I've been through that thing where I've seen the people, but you know what's interesting about it? It's not the person who came in and killed me with how good they talked. It wasn't the person who came in was the handsomest and best looking or anything. It was the person who communicated. It was the person who they showed a true empathy.
Yeah.
And when they came in, and they didn't come in like they were God's gift to everything, but they said, hey, tell me, how do I get better at being a salesperson?
Yeah.
That's a great start right there.
Coachable.
Coachable and teachable.
Yeah.
So if you want to find somebody coachable, teachable, trainable, empathizing.
Yes.
That's how we do this, right? Yeah. Lonnie, good to talk with you today, brother. Man. How can people find out more about your training? I mean, should they just go online and look you up? You have a certain way that most people find you?
They can reach out to you.
Okay. Reach out to Leader Mentality Show.
Yeah.
Hey, if you guys reach out to Leader Mentality Show for real, if you need a good trainer to come in and talk to you guys, to really motivate a team, to really make them, kind of understand how to be their best self. And I think he has a lot of training technologies and things that can help you just to excel at what you're looking to do. So, Lonnie, well done, my friend. I appreciate you being on the show.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Next time.
100%. And for those of you who listen today, look, my message at the end of this is go out with compassion, understand that other people have things that they need in life. And if you can be that solution, you can be the winner in that transaction by just helping somebody else. Being a winner is sometimes helping others. So go out, be your best self. We want to thank all of you for listening. Make sure to like and share us on the social media of your choice. We look forward to hearing from you all next time on the Leader Mentality Show with Rob Clemens.
That's it.